All right, let's talk about something that affects literally everything, from the roads you drive on to the schools in your neighborhood, but often feels like this big, complicated secret. I'm talking about the national budget. Today, we're going to pull back the curtain and see how it all works, using Malaysia's federal budget as our guide.
So, let me start by asking you a question. A government pumps out thousands of documents every single year, right? Laws, reports, you name it. But what do you think is the single most important one of them all? Yep, you guessed it. It's the national budget. It's this one incredibly detailed plan that basically sets the financial roadmap for the entire country for the next 12 months. It really is the government's master blueprint for action.
So what exactly is a budget? Well, the official definition is a plan for how money is going to be brought in and spent over time. But, it's more than just a boring spreadsheet. You should think of it as a financial model, a tool that's specifically designed to help a country hit its biggest, most important goals.
But see, a budget is so much more than just numbers on a page. When you get right down to it, it's a promise. It's the government's promise of accountability to every single one of its citizens.
And this is absolutely crucial. There are actually 6 key ways that a budget makes good on that promise of being accountable. Let's break them down.
Okay, first up, transparency. It shows you exactly where your tax money is going. Then, you've got performance monitoring, which is about making sure that funding actually leads to real results we can measure. Third is fiscal discipline, which is just a fancy way of saying it's a plan to keep the national debt in check. Fourth, public scrutiny. It has to be debated in Parliament and picked apart by auditors. Fifth, citizen participation. This gives you, the public, a voice through consultations. And finally, long-term planning. Making sure today's spending builds a stronger country for tomorrow. It's the whole package.
So how in the world does this massive document even come to life? Well, I can tell you it's not something that gets thrown together over a long weekend. It is a super complex, carefully planned journey that literally takes an entire year.
You can really boil this whole journey down into 4 main stages. It all kicks off with propose, where every government ministry figures out what they need. From there, it moves to examine and consult. And this is where the Treasury goes through every single request with a fine-tooth comb. Then comes finalize and approve. That's the big debate in Parliament. And finally, implement, where the plan gets put into action and the money actually starts flowing.
Let's look at how this actually plays out over the year. Things get started in January when the Treasury sends out the call for proposals. By March and April, all the ministries have to send in their wish lists. Then from April to July, the Treasury holds these intense hearings, questioning everything. At the same time, from May all the way to September, the finance minister is out there talking to everyone, industry leaders, the public, you name it. By September, the final bill gets drafted, and it's showtime in Parliament. If it gets the green light, it's all systems go for the following January. It's a marathon for sure, not a sprint.
Okay, so we've talked about the what and the how, but so what? Why does any of this matter to you and me? This is where we see the budget's real power. It's one of the most powerful tools a government has to steer the entire national economy.
This happens through something called fiscal policy. Just think of it like the government has 2 big levers it can pull. On one side, it can pull the tax increase lever. That brings in more money, sure, but it might mean people spend less. On the other side, it can pull the tax cut lever, which usually gets the economy buzzing because people have more money in their pockets. It's a constant balancing act.
Let's make this real. Check out this example from Malaysia's 2018 budget. The government decided to pull that second lever, the tax cut, and they announced a 2% income tax reduction for certain groups of people.
And what was the result of that one single decision? 261,000 people, that's over 250,000 individuals, were suddenly no longer required to pay any income tax at all. That is a direct, real-world impact on people's wallets, all from one line in the budget.
But a budget's economic power goes way beyond just taxes. It's used to funnel resources into huge sectors like healthcare and education, to stabilize the economy when things get rocky, to fund massive development projects, to give a boost to key industries, and even to help close the gap between the rich and the poor. It's a true economic powerhouse.
Now, of course, all this power and this whole complicated process doesn't just happen in a vacuum. The entire system is built on a really important foundation, the rule of law. And this is a point that you just can't overstate. A budget isn't just a suggestion box. Once it passes Parliament, it becomes the law of the land. The whole process is guided by the Constitution and other financial laws to make sure there are strict rules to the game.
And this legal framework has some very clear, non-negotiable rules. For instance, the budget has to be presented to Parliament before the new year starts. It has to lay out crystal clear how the money will be spent. Once it's approved, the supply bill officially becomes the Supply Act. It's law. If they need to spend extra money later, they have to get approval for that too. There's even a special contingencies fund set aside just for real emergencies. These rules are all there to prevent misuse and make sure there's proper oversight.
And that brings us to our final thought. A budget isn't just an economic document. You could argue it's a moral one too. By showing us where a nation puts its money, it shows us what that nation truly values. So, I'll leave you with a question to think about. What does your nation's budget reveal about its priorities?